Welcome back into WNBA Today. And as promised, I have James Young with me. Coach's perspective is the key perspective. And while we're laying out the playoff format, the playoff rundown for round one getting going on Sunday, of course, we had a talk with Coach. Coach, how are you doing so far on this Friday?
Good to be on with you, Casey. We wrapped up the regular season. We have playoffs. We have interesting matchups, and I'm sure we'll get into who I think could be on upset alert in the first round.
Oh, and I hope I did justice by setting the table and saying that there's a couple underdogs that the books are liking, but you already kind of told me about some. I'm not going to spoil it, so let's just get this party started. We got the Dream taking on the Liberty, 1 p.m. on Sunday. Obviously, a lot of people think that this is a lockdown matchup for the Liberty. The Dream need their star players to just completely command and control the game, but what do you see in this one?
Well, this is a matchup that, if you're the Liberty, you don't want to play with your food and you want to try and blow them out of the water early. So to me, when you start looking about where to go, you want to be nervous about the overall line, right? Because you worry about, could this game be a backdoor cover with a heavy line? So to me, if you're looking at anything, throw out the last game, which was last night, the 78-67 win by the Dream. I'm looking at the Liberty team total over in the first half to be 43.5 on FanDuel. They've scored 38, 62, 41 points. This is the best team offensively in the WNBA. Not a strong team defensively in the Atlanta Dream. And if you're Sandy Bordello, Casey, you want to get off to a fast start. That's the key. You don't want them to bleed. So I believe the first half, Liberty team total over 43.5 points is the way to go. They jump them early.
I love that. And just to stick with that for just a second, Coach, I'm hearing a lot of rumblings that star players will either not be participating or be removed from the lineup quite early. So does that kind of continue to stack to the fast start, hot start, and then move along when it comes to the rest of the game?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's why you get nervous about taking a full game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're Sandy Bordello and you're up by 20, points early in the fourth quarter, why are you playing Sabrina Ionescu? Why are you playing Brianna Stewart? People like Benajelani Hamilton, Courtney Vandersloot have battled injuries all year. So why would you risk it for a whole game? The other thing to look at, Casey, is if the Liberty get off to a slow start, let's say they're tied after the first quarter, maybe jump on the Liberty at the end of the first quarter to win the second quarter. Maybe teams get off to a slow start, a little bit of nervous energy, jump on them in game. Stay away from the full game at all. Play Liberty after the end of the first quarter if they're struggling, or take them first half, or if it's something at halftime, maybe the third quarter. Coaches like to make big adjustments at the break. This will be a big series for an Atlanta team who, let's be honest, is playing better. Another thing to look at, I know it's minus money big, but we got to talk about Tina Charles. The ageless wonder what she has done. Minus 155 for a double-double. If they're going to be in the game at all, Tina Charles double-double should be something you should be looking at.
Absolutely noted. Now, what about this? Because I was seeing a lot of people maybe locking in on Howard for over 15.5 points. Is that something that would be appealing for this matchup?
Yeah, Ryan Howard is the stir of that offense, right? When Ryan Howard, Gray, and obviously Tina Charles. But you want to cut the head off Snake. The only thing that gets me nervous about Ryan Howard is Benajelani Hamilton is arguably one of the best 3-and-D players in the WNBA. If she's healthy, they're going to try, and that's what you want to do as a coach. You want to cut the head off at the snake, which means you're going to have to look at, that's why I think the Tina Charles double-double is the other angle to do, or if you want to go points plus rebounds, because if I'm Sandy Bordello, I'm looking at knocking down Howard and limiting her opportunities to score and make other people try and beat me.
There we go. See, this is why we ask the expert and we shut down anything that's trending a little too heavy unless it makes sense. Speaking of things that make sense, we got the Fever versus the Sun, and you made some sense during the break when we were chatting about this matchup and what basketball fans should be anticipating. Clark, Boston, Mitchell, they look to continue the momentum that they've had after the Olympic break. But let me know what you see in this one. More importantly, is this the upset alert we were chatting about?
Folks, this is my best bet of the WNBA first round. I am taking the Indiana Fever to win this series. When you start looking at the fact of when these two teams played during the regular season, right? The first matchup, obviously June 14th, first game of the year. May 14th. Second game, May 20th, right? Third game, June the 10th. They played 3 of the 4 games before the Olympic break. They've been much better, Indiana, since the break, because to me, I think the ability of Caitlin Clark to get rest and understand what's going on and getting film. I love the Indiana Fever plus 154 to win this series. Here's why, folks. You got a closer in Caitlin Clark, and you got a half-court game, and you got a team that can't make threes. Pack it in, contest, get the first rebound. Caitlin Clark can steal this series. Indiana Fever win it plus 154.
Wow, so it looks like the Sun might lose their here comes the Sun moment, and all those predictions that say they were going to go 3 and out, well, keep a close eye on it. Then we got the Aces versus the Storm. Under 2 minutes here, Coach. What do you see in this matchup?
It's just a bad matchup for the Seattle Storm, a team that hasn't been good against the spread coming down the stretch. I think this is a point where we need to see the Las Vegas Aces start to turn it on. You look at Asia Wilson and arguably the best season in the history of the WNBA. But to me, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, their ability to knock down threes should be important. Also, look at Gustafson down low as the 5 now that Kia Stokes out of the starting lineup. Give me the Aces minus 7.5, game 1.
Ooh, all right. That one feels like a shoo-in. And then any final quick thoughts for the Mercury versus Lynx? Is it as simple as Minnesota has been dominant? Minnesota's going to ride this one out.
You made a great point, Casey, last segment. If there's a team that I'm looking at to win the WNBA title besides the Liberty, it's the Minnesota Lynx. They beat the Liberty head-to-head. They won the Commissioner's Cup. They have the best coach, should be the coach of the year in Cheryl Reeve. They have a top 3 player in Nafisha Collier. This is a dynamic team that can play half-court defense. Phoenix, all I got to say is, Diana Taurasi, thank you for the memories, but this is 2 and done.
See, you just made my Friday even better, Coach. Thank you so much for laying down the playoff format as well as the breakdown for this coming Sunday for us. And look, you made my day by saying we were on top of something when it comes to Minnesota, Coach. As always, thank you for your time.